Hello everyone. On April the 12th, 1912, the USS Titanic was heading towards the United States of America. At approximately 2 a.m. on April the 14th, 1912, the USS Titanic was struck down by an iceberg and it sank in the bottom of the North Atlantic Ocean. A lot of innocent lives was lost on that day. Men and women froze to death, waiting to be rescued. This video is in dedication to those individuals that passed away on April 14, 1912. We should never forget the lessons that was taught on that day. This video is in memory of those individuals. The entire series is dedicated. Thank you. In our last episode of the Time Vortex, episode 7, Kevin Petty, the Time Vortex crew, came out of the vortex. Kevin Petty vanished and appeared in front. At the time, as the ship vanished, you would see Kevin Petty going into the restroom. Well, as he's getting ready to close his eyes and go take a leak, the ship immediately exited the vortex. He vanished, and he appeared in front of a police car, peeing on a police officer. As soon as he seen it, he took off running. He went through the freaking bushes, and he was heading to try to avoid the police officer. He immediately grabs his little thing and contacts the ship through his implant. He turned around and he yells, "Help! Help! Help! I just bullied on a police officer!" What the just happened? And he's running, and he's running, and running. Finally, he sees a ship. Apparently, he was by the ocean. He sees this giant ship, and he runs on board that ship to avoid the cops. Professor Randoxy immediately gives him a spot. He turned around and he said, "Mr. Petty, they can't see you. You are invisible. Your body cannot catch up." "What do you mean?" "It means you weren't seen by the officer. All he saw was you running into the bushes. You're okay. You're not going to get caught. I told you there were bugs." He's highly embarrassed, to say the least. The little did he know was when the ship that he ran into was none other than the USS Titanic. Now, it was nighttime at this time. Nobody was on board the ship. He goes and he runs and hides in the captain's quarters. Well, maybe captain's quarters. We're not sure. However, the next morning, he reaches inside of his jacket and he finds there's 2 tickets on the Titanic that he has in his pocket. The outfit that he's wearing, of course, is the to the naked eye it appears as in if it's a ship's uniform. But in reality, he was wearing the time vortex outfit. Basically, the clothing makes him appear to be whatever he wants it to be made into. In this particular issue, he needs to be a crew member. If should he's seen. Now, the ship on board the time vortex ship gives the people the instructions about what is going on. Professor Randoxy figures that's one of the bugs that needs to be worked out. Transporting crew members into them time areas. Rather than she would rather have it to where she got to pick who got on what mission or whatever, rather than have the ship, because the ship can screw up. And in this particular case, they lost a navigator. So immediately the ship, they don't disperse or anything. Rather, they send him the necessary clothing, the food. He needed to have some money, because if you're going to be on board a ship, you're going to have to be able to supply your meals or whatever is done. He got himself a first-class ticket, which was lucky. So, pretty much, this was on April the 11th. At about noon on April 12th, the ship is to launch, heading towards the United States of America. So he starts monitoring. He learns by communication from Randoxy that there is one individual that is on board the ship that needs to be rescued, because that individual came from Florida and not in that time area. So he had to find out, part of his mission was to find out who was not supposed to be there. His second mission is that they detected a methane crystal, and he needs to recover to whom owns the methane crystal. So the crew begins doing their little research about this missing methane crystal. Was there any crystals that was sold in a pawn shop or something like that in this time area? So they're beginning their checkup on that. They're also trying to check up on anyone that could possibly be in the area. They find on the records that there is a Jessica Parker. They don't know who Jessica Parker is or what age she is or anything like this at this point in juncture. They know that this Jessica Parker had somewhat a change in the history of the ship. What it is, they don't know at this point in juncture. So he's gone out trying to find out who Jessica Parker is. Maybe have a communication, but it's like a day early. So he's got to get himself set up. He winds up finding out that he's in a room 8A, which is in the luxury part of the ship. But he has not arrived, even though he's there and invisible. Obviously, on April the 12th, he is going to be there. He's assuming the name of John Alexander. I believe I wrote that up that way. John Alexander. So, and it's a beautiful day on April the 11th. He goes back to his quarters and he's getting ready to rest up to have a nice sleep. Because according to the calculations at 12 midnight, between 12 and 5 a.m., he's going to be visible to the people that's on board the USS Titanic. He's going to be able to be a part of the crew and everything. That's where I'm going to end this video at this point in juncture. On episode 9, the story of the Titanic begins. That's all I gotta say. Thank you.